right, team. Well, I wanted just to real quickly walk through Process Q training with you. Wanted to kind of accelerate this process to either give you that first time training or maybe even just a refresher course on what it means to have someone in your Process Q and what to do with that and why we have Process Qs in general. So first and foremost, Process Qs are the number one way that we do our shepherding here at Memphis Christian Church, and they're a huge part of the student ministry. It's a way in which we're able to share shepherding roles, and it's a way to make sure that students don't fall through the cracks. Now, how do Process Qs happen? Well, I'll show you. Each week I come into the office and I click on Collide Q, and I walk into the office and I look at how many students were here for the first time that week, or what students need shepherding for that week. And so just for an example, I'm going to use our test dummy individual that's in our system called Bob Sample. And Bob Sample, let's say, was here for the first time at Collide. And every week I am the first person that gets this assignment because what I do is I send him out a welcome letter. Now, if you want to know kind of what our process looks like, if you jump back one page, you probably won't have access to this, but I'll show it to you anyway. You'll see that there is a welcome letter that gets sent, a first-time follow-up, a secondary follow-up, a 30-day follow-up, and then also just some additional shepherding if needed. Now, the welcome letter is sent to every student that comes for the first time. They also many times will receive a card as well from me. And I will print that out and send it to them by mail, or I'll send them an email directly if that's the way they prefer communication. And once that is complete, I simply will click on that, click Mark as done, and then I will have the opportunity to assign it to one of you all here in the system. You can see all of the names that are in here, and each of those names are someone that has a role in the student's life, but what I want to make sure is that I assign the first follow-up to someone who has made a relationship already, or someone who is just their life group leader. Sometimes it's a family member, but I always want to make sure that we're building those relationships within our groups as well. And so I will, just for the sake of showing you guys, assign him to myself. Let's pretend that he was in my life group that week. I would click Mark as done. And then this is where you guys get those emails, and they come through probably on Monday or Tuesday, and you'll get to see in your email inbox right here. You can see I've got a lot of stuff that I need to take care of today, but you can see that Bob Sample has been assigned to me in the first time follow-up. And so I will click on View Queue. If you're not receiving these emails, you need to make sure that you talk to me personally, so that way we can get you set up to where these emails are coming through, because this is the only way you would know if you had someone in your queue, is that if the email informs you. So I can simply click on View Queue. It will redirect me over here to first time follow-up, and all through this you can see some great teaching and training tools right here for you that explain what the parameters are for the first time follow-up, and some great questions for you to look into. All of these are just simply tools and things to help you kind of get that conversation going. It's very surface level conversation, but it's the thought and the call that counts in the first time follow-up. We always want to make sure that the first time follow-up is done, hopefully within the first 3 days. And so if you look on your calendar, you would say that, okay, I should have my shepherding and my first time follow-ups done that are assigned to me by Wednesday. Hopefully that is the case, unless something comes up, and if that's the case, please let me know, and we'll talk about why that's important here in a minute. But anyway, so I can see down here at the bottom that Bob Sample's in my queue. I can actually go down and click on his name, and when I click on his name, it will take me over to his profile. And within his profile, I am able to see Bob Sample's phone number. I'm able to see his address, and I'm also able to see any notes that have already been on this. And so earlier today, I did just kind of a test run through in this and kind of put some notes into Bob Sample's profile. But let's say I make that phone call over to Bob and I'm asking him a couple questions. I can kind of fill in that information right here and just kind of walk through that as I'm doing it, or as I'm talking to him on the phone, I can be writing down some notes on a piece of paper, or even write into my phone about a little bit about who Bob Sample is, where he goes to school, some of his friends, some of the things he's interested in, to be able to provide good notes for other people to see. Once I've completed those notes and I've had that conversation with Bob, I will click Add This Note, and it will save it to his profile. Now, to get Bob off of my first-time follow-up list, I have to go up here to the top right and click Mark as Done. Once you click Mark as Done, it will then allow you to reassign Bob back to me to be able to do the second follow-up later in the week, to be able to invite him back personally into the ministry. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to look at your notes, and Bob's going to think that we really care about him, which we do, because we have notes in which we know him and he is identified, and we know some of his likes, some of his interests, and that will help me in my conversation with getting to know him even a little bit deeper over our time together. You'll click Save, and that will then send it back to me, and you can go down and see that your queue is clean. Now, that's first-time follow-up. The shepherding process is exactly the same, except it's just in a different place. And so you may get an email that says, hey, someone's been added to your shepherding list. There's usually some notes that are associated with that as to why they're in your list. And if you ever had questions about that, you know that you can always go to that person's profile and to be able to look at the notes to kind of see why they're needing it. You would make a phone call to them or send them a text. A lot of times I see where you guys copy and paste your text into the notes, and that's really great. Just know that those notes can't be seen by anybody else except for those who have the privileges to do that. So that student's not going to be able to log in and see what notes are assigned to their profile. Same thing goes for other people. We do want to protect the personal things that are in there, and so if there's something that really is maybe not the best to be put into their profile, let's talk about that together and see if there's a better way that we can record that information together to be able to have follow-up later. But nevertheless, that is the process system, and if you have trouble logging into your MyMCC account or you're having trouble in this still, please let me know, and I'd love to talk with you and to follow up and to just equip you even further into this system of what process queues are. Again, I want to thank you for being willing to invest in students in this way, and I hope that you find that this tool is just as much as a resource as I do. Thanks, guys.